Sorry. The alpha is upstairs with his lady. We don't take visitors without an appointment. What, his lady? Then who am I? 3 years of secret marriage. I was never allowed to step foot inside his company building. Now I stood in front of the receptionist's desk at the company headquarters, clutching a gift box in my hands. Inside was a surprise that I knew Ethan, the alpha of Thornpack, and my husband would be overjoyed to receive. This could fix everything for us, but she'd said Ethan was with his lady. That couldn't be right. If anybody was his lady, it was me. I was his wife. My stomach sank with confusion and fear. Who was up there with him? We'd met in medical school, where he'd defended me from the other students' ruthless harassment. I was a human, and the other students were werewolves who didn't believe I belonged at the Pack University. Back then, Ethan's protective nature had been endearing. Little did I know that the patterns formed in medical school would follow me for the rest of my life. Because I am a human, Ethan didn't allow me to become Luna when we wed. In fact, he kept our marriage secret, out of worry for how I would be treated as the alpha's human wife. Through all that, though, I still wore the diamond necklace Ethan had given me. The necklace that marked me as his chosen mate. And now I carried his child. The ultimate fulfillment of the promise he'd made when he gifted me the necklace all those years ago. I was flooded with happiness. Maybe I'd been a little naive. I'd never been to his office before. In fact, I'd never been to company headquarters at all, as Ethan thought it best that I keep mostly to the house and away from prying eyes. There must be some mistake, I said, trying to keep my voice as steady as possible, even as my pulse beat wildly in my throat. I am Alpha Ethan's wife. The receptionist looked at me, confusion flashing in her eyes before being replaced by customer service sheen. Alpha and his fated mate are together, rig it now. I've never heard anything about him having a wife, especially not a human who isn't even a wolf. I could feel embarrassment and confusion creeping up my skin, turning my neck and face red. Instinctively, I clutched the box in my hands closer to my chest. Please, just let me go up and see Ethan, I said. It is important. He'll clear everything up for you, I promise. The receptionist recoiled with my casual use of Ethan's first name without his title. Her face hardened at the perceived disrespect, and I kicked myself for they slip up. I'd used Ethan's name the way we did at home, when we were just 2 people together, not a human and an alpha. Ma'am, I am going to have to ask you to leave the premises, the receptionist said, all pleasantness gone from her voice. Behind her, I could see the elevators. If I could just make it into one and get to Ethan's floor, everything would work out. He'd explain the misunderstanding. He'd celebrate our baby with me. The elevator doors opened, and I booked it, cradling the gift box under my arm like a football. Ma'am, get back here, the receptionist called after me. I didn't stop. I couldn't stop. I almost made it into the elevator. I ran into something large and firm. Looking up, I realized it was a security guard. There were 2 of them. The receptionist must have notified them of my presence at some point during our conversation. The guards grabbed me under each arm, practically carrying me back past the receptionist's desk and out of company headquarters altogether. Once outside, they shoved me away, and the gift box I'd barely managed to hang on to dropped to the ground, the lid coming off and the contents spilling everywhere. I knelt to the ground, scrambling to pick up the once purposefully organized baby onesies and bibs strewn all over the concrete. I picked up the pregnancy test last, looking at the 2 blue lines that formed a cross in the little plastic window. Plus for positive, plus for pregnant. I wanted to leave, to go home and hide under the covers and never see a man out. I thought of the fetus that lived inside me now, and I thought about Ethan standing up for me at Wolf University when I was being bullied. I found the courage to wait for him at the company's entrance. I waited for what felt like hours in the cold wind. I called him, but he hung up without talking to me. The pulse in my throat quickened, my anxiety spreading. Eventually, he came out of the building, but he didn't even look at me. He was escorting a woman to the shiny black company car waiting on the curb. Ethan, I called. He nodded stoically at me, then helped the beautiful woman into the car. Finally, he turned to me. What is it? His face was plain, showing no emotion. This was typical for Ethan. He'd always been hard to read, even for me, who knew him the best. I offered him the gift box. "What are you doing, showing up here like this?" Ethan demanded. "Just take the box, please," I begged. He turned back to the car, apparently indifferent to my pleas. "I thought you understood the position I am in. Sophia, I can't be publicly linked to a human woman." I'd never heard Ethan say the word human with such purpose, such disdain. He'd never made me feel bad about who I was before. I pulled the box back to my chest, cradling it like I hoped I would soon cradle my child. Still had no idea what was going on, but suddenly telling Ethan about the pregnancy didn't seem like such a great idea. A group of reporters sporting microphones and cameras had appeared around us while Ethan and I were talking. I imagined the receptionist picking up the phone and tipping off the media about the juicy drama happening at company headquarters. Drama involving a human woman demanding to see Alpha Ethan. But actually, they didn't come for me. The woman Ethan had ushered to the car emerged. As soon as she appeared, the reporters around us excitedly flashed their cameras. "This is Isabella. Alpha's fated mate has returned. She is a politician from the Obsidian Pack, responsible for fostering economic cooperation with the Thorn Pack," one reporter said, speaking to a camera of a live broadcast. The crowd rushed toward us, shoving me off balance. I struggled to protect the already battered gift box, but Ethan gently shielded the other woman instead. She was dressed in an elegant business suit, looking incredibly graceful and beautiful. "Ethan, is this one of your fans?" she asked. "No," Ethan said. "I don't know her." Isabella scrutinized my plain clothes with a disdainful look. "What do you do?" How could I tell this woman, this elegant professional, that not only was he human, but I was also just a housewife? How could I bring myself that low? Ethan told her to get back in the car. "Be careful with the baby," he murmured. The pulse that had been beating in my throat dropped down in my stomach. Isabella was pregnant, with my husband's baby. My heart cracked down the middle. Why wouldn't Ethan stop and he'd talk to me? Why wouldn't he tell me what was going on? Why the hell my husband got another woman pregnant? Isabella smiled shyly as she was escorted back into the car. She looked elegant, beautiful, yet humble, the fantasy woman. The car door shut and reporters swarmed around. The crowds hoved me aside, and I fell to the ground. The gift box once again hitting the cold concrete. Ethan started the car and left without even a glance in my direction. Everything went black. I opened my eyes to see my best friend, Eliza, sitting beside me. That is when all the memories came crashing back in. The baby, the gift box, Ethan, that woman, Isabella. My smile faltered. "Hi," I said, my voice coming out in a rasp. "Hey," Eliza said, hurrying over to the sink to fill a little paper cup with water for me. "I am so happy you are awake." "At least someone is," I muttered under my breath. Eliza sat down in the vinyl armchair that she'd scooted up against my iPad. I could feel her energy shift. She wanted to talk about something serious. "So, I saw you on the news," she started. I saw Ethan on the news, and I thought I caught you in the background of the shot. I decided to drive over to company headquarters. I didn't know what to say, so I stayed quiet. When I got there, everyone was gone but you. You were lying on the asphalt, alone. Eliza sucked in a sharp breath, her eyes igniting with fierce protectiveness. "They left you there by yourself. Anything could have happened to you. I don't understand this blind loyalty you have toward him, Sophia. He forgot your birthday. Some nights he just doesn't come home. He says he is at the office. Beauty, you have no way to know for sure because you aren't allowed to go there. He is not good for you. He doesn't care about you. He is using you." Her voice gradually grew more intense. Clearly, as my friend, she had seen too many instances where Ethan didn't pay attention to me. This conversation had happened more than once. "I could only steer the topic away. You brought me here?" I asked. Even though I already knew the answer, part of me had hoped that Ethan had been the one to call for help, to check Nettie in, to handle the paperwork. Wasn't that what husbands were supposed to do for their wives? Eliza nodded. Something really bad could have happened if I didn't show up, Sophia. Thank you, I replied. My voice almost a whisper, embarrassment flushed through my body. Eliza fidgeted in her seat, like she wanted to say something else. Watched her, wondering what my normally opinionated friend could possibly be hesitant to bring up. A nurse came in, carrying Jell-O on a tray. I picked one small, clear plastic cup of red gelatin and thanked her. I dug in with my little plastic spoon. "Why haven't you told me?" Eliza asked. My heart sunk for what felt like the 100th time that day. The gift box. Where was it? "You found the pregnancy test," I asked. "Of course I did. It was lying on the sidewalk next to your lifeless body." Eliza shook her head. "Why didn't you tell me?" What could I say? How could I explain how much I wished this could be a normal pregnancy between a normal husband and wife? I could only smile bitterly. Eliza looked at me, then shook her head. "The news isn't even pretending to be unbiased. They're all shipping Ethan and that woman, Isabella." I set down my spoon. My appetite suddenly too small, even for Jell-O. "It is not just the news either. When I was checking you into the hospital, the staff was fangirling over the new power couple. The rumor is that Ethan booked Isabella's prenatal checkups here. While everyone was so excited about Ethan and Isabella, none of them cared about me. None of them realized that their beloved Alpha was already married. Nor of them knew that secret wife was pregnant as well. Is she here in this hospital too? I thought. "Look," Eliza said. "I know you wish things were different, but Ethan is moving on with his life. That has never been more apparent than today." I didn't like where she was going with this. I considered pushing the button to call the nurse, but I didn't know what I would tell her when she arrived. "Sorry, my best friend wants to have a conversation that I am not ready to hear yet. Hope you didn't have anything serious to do right now." Eliza took my hand, careful not to disturb the skin where the IV needle connected to my veins. "Sophia, I think you should consider giving up the baby. Ethan left you," P said out. "In the parking lot today, does he really seem like Father of the Year material?" she asked. I stayed silent. "Ethan is not going to be present in this child's life. Sophia, he is hardly present in yours," Eliza continued. "If you decide to keep this baby, you are going to have to do this all on your own." I shook my head, clutching my stomach at the same time. Ethan core not. I already loved this child. The baby was innocent. In that moment, I knew I would keep the child okay, Eliza said, sensing my resolve. "Then at least divorce Ethan. Leave him, have the baby, and raise them on your own." I stayed silent. Even after everything, I'd never considered divorcing Ethan. "Sophia, you gave up medicine, a career you loved. For Ethan, you gave up your social life just to marry him in secret and become his hidden housewife." She sneered. "I don't know how you two had time to make a baby, considering he is hardly even home, of course." Eliza didn't know everything. The time Ethan and I were the closest was when we were in bed. Is she here, in this hospital too? I thought. "Look," Eliza said, "I know you wish things were different, but Ethan is moving on with his life. That has never been more apparent than today." I didn't like where she was going with this. I considered pushing the button to call the nurse, but I didn't know what I would tell her when she arrived. "Sorry, my best friend wants to have a conversation that I am not ready to hear yet. Hope you didn't have anything serious to do right now." Eliza took my hand, careful not to disturb the skin where the IV needle connected to my veins. "Sophia, I think you should consider giving up the baby. Ethan left you, PS'd out, in the parking lot today. Does he really seem like Father of the Year material?" she asked. I stayed silent. Ethan is not going to be present in this child's life. "Sophia, he is hardly present in yours," Eliza continued. "If you decide to keep this baby, you are going to have to do this all on your own." I shook my head, clutching my stomach at the same time. Ethan core not. I already loved this child. The baby was innocent. In that moment, I knew I would keep the child okay, Eliza said, sensing my resolve. Then at least divorce Ethan, leave him, have the baby, and raise them on your own. I stayed silent. Even after everything, I'd never considered divorcing Ethan. Sophia. You gave up medicine, a career you loved. For Ethan, you gave up your social life just to marry him in secret and become his hidden housewife. She sneered. I don't know how you two had time to make a baby, considering he is hardly even home, of course. Eliza didn't know everything. The time Ethan and I were the closest was when we were in bed. He is so drunk, I thought. He'll never remember this. He won't even remember who I am in that moment, though. I didn't care. I was too enveloped in his soft, insistent lips on mine, his tongue flicking into my mouth. I was too distracted by the damp heat spreading inside my panties. When Ethan pulled away from me, taking my hand and pulling me towards the bar door, didn't resist. When Ethan opened the door to the car waiting outside, Arndt ushered me inside. I didn't tell him I had to go home. When Ethan undressed me in his room, I didn't tell him to stop. That was the first night we slept together. That was the first night I slept with anyone. Ethan was so kind, insistent on my pleasure and my comfort, demonstrating what I could do to feel good and to make him feel good. After that, we became friends with benefits. It wasn't what I wanted from him. I couldn't deny that I was in love with him. The crush I'd developed on Herm only strengthened by our physical chemistry. Despite the temptation I felt to continue sleeping with him, knowing that Ethan didn't return my feelings was too painful. I decided that I would break up with him for both of our best interests. When I asked to end our situation, though, Ethan surprised me. He asked me to marry him instead. Or rather, he asked me to sign a marriage contract with the condition that our relationship would be kept secret, and he would give me income by month. Understood the logistics of our secrecy, and some part of me realized that despite our history, Ethan still didn't see me as a legitimate partner. I was ecstatic anyway, hopeful that in marriage Ethan would realize my value. After all, marriage tied us together permanently. I decided not to pursue my medical career to become his housewife. Arndt for a long time that life was enough for me. We still had a vibrant Sfax life that stoked the flames of my love for him. And the day-to-day responsibilities of caring for him fulfilled me. For a while I loved preparing dinner from him, always anticipating the look of bliss when he raised a forkful of his favorite meal to his lips. At night, when thoughts of what my life could have been threatened to occupy my mind, I would look at him sleeping next to me, and the thoughts would disappear. He looked so innocent at night, the muscles in his face. He is so drunk, I thought. He'll never remember this. He won't even remember who I am in that moment. Though I didn't care. I was too enveloped in his soft, insistent lips on mine, his tongue flicking into my mouth. I was too distracted by the damp heat spreading inside my panties. When Ethan pulled away from me, taking my hand and pulling me towards the bar door, didn't resist. When Ethan opened the door to the car waiting outside, Arndt ushered me inside. I didn't tell him I had to go home. When Ethan undressed me in his room, I didn't tell him to stop. That was the first night we slept together. That was the first night. Truncated 7,615 characters. Reddit. Sophia was being unreasonable. She'd never brought up divorce before. This was impulse. A tantrum brought on by the threat Isabella posed as another woman in my life. A suitable woman who I could marry in public. Who could be Thornpack's Luna. Her eyes shifted from anticipation to shock, then to sadness. I found this strange. If she really was a prostitute, she'd be used to this exchange by now. My mind raced, scrambling to put together an acceptable apology. The woman looked down at the card for a moment, hesitating, then taking it from my hand. So my assumptions had been correct. She looked up at me, her eyes so wide. Could you? She trailed off, then continued. Could you spare some more? Although it turned out that Sophia was not actually a prostitute. She did borrow money from me several more times. She always asked for a substantial amount. Maybe she was with me just for the money. But I was obsessed with her body. Thorn was obsessed with her scent. One day, Sophia began refusing my money. When I asked why, Shay said she wanted to be with me. I was sure she wanted a more stable relationship in Ordito Extract, more benefits from me. Despite myself, I desired her body, and her presence had become familiar. Thorne's insistence also couldn't be ignored, and I'd always considered him a good judge of character. I gave her a marriage contract. Admittedly, the conditions were harsh. Our marriage was to be a secret, and no one could know. She accepted my offer without hesitation. Thorne grumbled, "Don't divorce her. You'll regret it." Sophia was being unreasonable. She'd never brought up divorce before. This was impulse. A tantrum brought on by the threat Isabella posed as another woman in my life, a suitable woman, who I could marry in public, who could be Thornpack's Luna. My heart broke as Ethan turned away from me. His arms still around Isabella, his words ringing through my mind. I turned and left. I could almost hear the why in my heart, a voice constantly calling my name. I started packing as soon as I got home. The house, our house, was filled with so many memories. There were the flowers and plants I had arranged myself, along with the vases, paintings, and even the color of the sofa and the cushions. Some of my favorite objects in the house were the furniture couvers I had learned how to weave myself. The precise movements of weaving often reminded me of medical school, learning to sew stitches into skin with depth and skill. I told myself the acts of weaving furniture covers and sewing up human bodies were beautiful, in their own distinct ways. Ethan never said it out loud that he liked the furniture covers, but he often sat on that sofa and went through his documents. He would lean back, casually leafing through important documents and new proposals, looking more relaxed than he did at practically any other time. I warned myself not to think about him anymore. He'd shattered everything, like the covers I'd manufactured this life for myself. This prison I found myself trapped in had been built by my own hands. Ethan had never truly appreciated me or this manufactured cage, and now he wanted to push me further into it, to tighten my chains even more than they already were. What did he think I was? His toy, someone who just stayed at home, ready to spread her legs for him whenever he wanted. My luggage was strewn about the house as I decided what to bring with me and what to leave behind. I stood behind the couch, running my fingers over the woven texture of the sofa cover. I'd spent so long on the project it was tempting to bring them with me, but I didn't think I would ever be able to look at them without thinking of Ethan, of his dark black hair and blue eyes, of his long limbs resting against the soft fibers. I decided to leave them. At the very least, they would be proof that I'd been here, even if no one else decided to acknowledge the large role I'd played in Ethan's life. I finished packing in the bedroom. When I finished, finally zipping up my last suitcase and sealing the last box with strong, clear tape, I lay down on the bed. I tried to rest, but I was unable to sleep through the night. Ethan didn't come home. Not that this was entirely unusual, but the context was different now. And usually he'd send word when he wouldn't be home, Soul wouldn't have dinner ready for him to heat and eat when he returned. I turned on the news, and the image of Ethan and Isabella entering a fancy restaurant occupied the television screen. Immediately, I turned off the television. I didn't want her, even the image of her, to scar this bedroom Ethan and I had shared. Not while I was here, at least. The next morning, as soon as it was a reasonable hour to make a phone call, I consulted a lawyer. He told me what I already knew. If I divorced him, I would have to leave Thornpack. I made up my mind. I bought a ticket to leave. Isabella sighed with relief. Ethan had finally left for work. Finally left Ear alone. She could breathe, not stifled by Ethan's overbearing chivalry and her own rebuff lies-er. "You sure it is all right if I leave?" Ethan asked her. "I can tell the face I can't come in today." "Oh, sweetie," Isabella had purred in her best impression of a demure, wifely woman. "Of course I'll be all right. After all, I have my own security here. They wore it let anything happen to me." "All right," Ethan had finally acquiesced. "But if Sophia shows up, I want you to contact my office immediately. I'll be home as soon as possible." "Of course, darling," Isabella replied. As soon as Ethan left the house and Isabella saw his car leave her driveway, she rose, going into action. Contact my office immediately, Isabella repeated, mocking Ethan's concern. Right, like I need an alpha to protect me. Isabella was very familiar with alphas, along with what she perceived as their hubris. After all, she was the daughter of Obsidian Pack's own alpha. She tried not to think about that too much. Her father's incompetence was the reason she was here, merging the two packs herself. Nothing would get Dore if she didn't take the reins. Isabella shirked off her frilly house robe, gliding confidently down the stairs to her study. She sat behind the magnificently carved desk, flicking on the lamp and opening her little black book. Now, who would be best to recruit to her scheme? She had no draft of criminals or bad boys to recruit to her cause. After all, seducing men to her side was one of Isabella's more practiced skills. But who could she trust to do what she needed? Who would be most suited to murdering Sophia without turning Isabella into Ethan? Who would be unconditional loyal, choosing Isabella over the temptations of reward money and heroic fame? Isabella flipped through the pages of her book. She had sections divided by occupation, every name labeled by what the man could do for her. She stopped at the page labeled Thornpack Airport. Finding the number she wanted, Isabella dialed her phone. After a quick conversation, her suspicions were confirmed. Sophia Wood had booked a flight out of Thornpack for that afternoon. Isabella needed to work fast. She skimmed the rest of the page. Her next call would require some more skill to convince. Isabella? She could hear the loud sounds of plane engines and mechanics in the background of the call. Perfect. He was at work. Hello, darling, she purred. I have a favor to ask of you. There was a pause on the other end of the line. Yes, I need you to sabotage the engines for a flight after the pilots do their safety checks. Isabella waited to see what her contact would respond. Isabella, that is pretty serious, the man said. What do I get if I do it? Well, dear, Isabella said. Anything your heart desires, I can make come true, anything. The man was softening to her pleas, just as Isabella had anticipated. Anything, she said. All right, consider it done. Isabella sat back in her chair after hanging up the phone, satisfied with her plan. Everything was in place. Soon, Sophia would be dead. I stopped at the security booth at the entrance to the office parking lot on my way to the airport. The guard bristled at the sight of me, but I held up the manila envelope in my hand. Eventually, he accepted that I wasn't trying to break back onto the premises and cause another scene. He agreed that the package would make its way to Ethan, although he explained to me that they would have to check the package first and make sure I hadn't snuck in anthrax or a bomb, so someone would see the divorce papers. Then, along with the diamond necklace I would never be able to afford myself, someone would know that I'd been telling the truth, that I really had been Ethan's legal wife. Not just some crazy human woman who hadn't known her place. The necklace was once my prized possession. Ethan had given it to me on our wedding day. I still remembered the feeling of his fingers on my neck as he'd brushed my hair to the side. Careful not to disturb the hair, I'd intricately pinned myself. Because it was a secret wedding, I didn't get the traditional white gown, or the beauty team toed over me. This gift, though, had made the day feel real, legitimate even without the traditional too. I'd cherished the necklace, almost never taking it off. I carried it as proof that Ethan had feelings for me, no matter how much he insisted our marriage was only born out of convenience. Now, the thought of keeping it felt like a bitter reminder of how much I drifted for a man who never cared about me. I left, heading toward the airport. About 15 minutes later, Ethan called me. What do you mean by this, Sophia? He asked. I could sense panic hovering underneath his stoic tone. I am done, Ethan. You have Isabella now. Just let me leave. This means you get half of my assets, right? Ethan replied, his voice hoarse. That is why you want the divorce. Raj boiled inside me. Ever since we'd met, Ethan assumed I'd ched myself to him for the money. Of course, at the beginning the funds had been a nice bonus, but they'd never been my motivation for being with him. Then the pain washed in. I'd known Ethan so well, down to the way he took his tea meanwhile. He'd never bothered to learn anything about me or my heart. I hung up the phone. I decided that my new life began now. I reached into my pack which contained my carry on items for the flight. All of my most cherished possessions were stashed inside it. I pulled out a photo of Grandma, raising it to my lips and kissing it. Silently, I asked her to bless this new chapter of my life. Grandma had been my only family in the world. I'd grown up an orphan, and Grandma had found me on the doorstep of Thornpack's orphanage one cold winter. She'd advocated for me, and Ethan's parents, the former Alpha and Luna, took me under their wings, allowing me to survive and attend school. Although they were rich, they were charitable. And though I'd heard of their son, I'd never met him, as he was always away at private school or some other important pack function, however. When I was a teenager, Grandma fell ill. She motivated my choice to attend Wolf University as a medical student, hopeful that I'd be able to find a cure for her illness. Unfortunately, medical school is the most expensive kind, and even the scholarship I'd been granted by the Alpha and Luna wasn't enough to cover tuition and survive at the same time. When Ethan and I had met, and he'd handed me that credit card, I had no choice but to take it. It was the only way to help my grandmother, and though I knew Ethan thought was a WFA, I had to ask for more. That didn't mean Ethan's assumptions about me didn't hurt. That didn't mean I wasn't humiliated to trade SVX for money. To combat the humiliation, I would offer to pay Ethan back for Themony he lended me. However, every time I offered, he would sneer at me. "All you have to do is spread your pretty legs," he would growl, and Sean would spread through me even as heat grew in my groin. Grandma was long gone now, and Ethan had proven our marriagetto be a lost cause. There was nothing at all left for me in Thornpack. I boarded the plane, trying to settle into my window seat. I was grateful that I'd been able to snag it. A couple of hours into the flight, the plane began to shake, tossing our bodies around carelessly in our seats. "Put on your mask first," I remembered the flight attendant instructing us at the beginning of the flight. This was real. I might die. I pulled the oxygen mask onto my face as the plane began to rattle even more violently. I saw nothing but shades of blue, baby blue sky, vast navy sea. Despair flooded through me. I'd shoved the divorce papers into my bottom desk drawer, trying to pretend they didn't exist. Sophia's necklace, however, I couldn't bring to hide away. Instead, slipped it into my pants pocket, every once in a while slipping my hand in to finger the delicate gold chain. Sophia just left to clear her mind, I told myself. She'd be back sore. I was sure of it. Maybe I just didn't want to believe that Sophia would truly leave for good, despite myself. I stayed in my office at PAC headquarters. I was practiced at pushing away my personal life in order to focus on what must be done for the company and for Thornpack. I tried to push past the pain, which usually wasn't a challenge. Finally, I fell into a flow, or so I thought, until my beta cleared his teeth. He was standing in front of my desk, concern on his face. "Alpha, you seem off today," he said. That is when I realized, without her, breakfast didn't taste right. There would be no one to help me choose my suit, and no one to wish me good morning. Without her, there would be no gentle goodbye kiss as I left each morning. A kiss that always seemed to hold more feeling than I allowed myself to acknowledge. I did my best to push these realizations to the back of my mind, the place where I stored my feelings and my pain becoming cramped. Isabella and I met with the elders to discuss the economic trade agreements between our two packs. The elders had insisted on meeting Isabella after learning that she carried my child. They suggested that I marry her. Isabella had always been gentle, poised, and noble. She was truly the perfect candidate for Luna. But I already had a wife. I couldn't stop thinking about Sophia. Of course, Isabella and I had history. We'd met in college at Wolf University and started dating. When we realized we'd come from similar worlds, me as the incumbent Alpha as Thornpack, and her as the Alpha of Obsidian Pack's daughter. Politically, our partnership had made sense, and I couldn't deny that she was elegantly gorgeous in a way that any wolf would desire. However, Isabella had broken up with me. She'd said her parents didn't approve of our relationship. I'd thought that Isabella was going to be my wife, and I'd already started formulating plans for our future together after school. I was heartbroken at the loss. Then I went to that bar. I met Sophia, and somehow her tenderness stitched me back together. My life took a toll on me. I'd be the first to admit that I spent most of my time working, neglected my own feelings. How was I supposed to think about anyone else's? Then, 2 weeks ago, I was at a bar getting drunk after work. I'd sent word home that I was staying at the office that night, and that Sophia shouldn't expect me back until the next day. Then, I'd run into Isabella while ordering drinks. I'd already had 2 are much, but nobody was going to cut off the alpha of Thornpack. The next thing I remembered, it was morning, and I was lying in Isabella's bed, naked. "I have a chosen mate," I said, panic invading my voice. "And me cringe, that is okay," Isabella said, curving her picture-perfect lips into a soft, "We'll pretend this never happened. After all, we know my parents don't approve." I sighed, thankful for her consideration, pushing the panic and guilt I veto the back of my mind. Then, just days ago, she'd told me she was pregnant with my child. What choice did have? I had to bring her back to the pack. Was I going to marry her and divorce Sophia? Beta called me, the ringing of the phone breaking me out of my thoughts. Sophia had bought a plane ticket. She really was planning to leave. Thorn, my wolf, urged me to go find her. Instead, I told my Beta to bring her back. Sophia was just playing more unreasonable games. If only she could soften to me, I could forgive her. "Wait," I said into the phone, a thought forming in my mind. Why was Sophia at the hospital? I waited for Beta to return with the information, grabbing the phone as soon as it rang. "Alpha," Beta said. "The plane crashed. Sophia is dead." "That is not all, Alpha." Beta paused, then cleared his throat. "She was at the hospital for a prenatal checkup. She was pregnant with your child. They both died." The room began to swirl around me. I gazed at the Thornpack Hospital, thinking back to the last time I'd stepped foot in its halls. 5 years. It had been 5 years since I'd last stepped foot in Thornpack, nevertheless, the hospital where my marriage had ended. I never thought returning to Thornpack would feel like stepping into a carefully laid trap, one woven from threads of my own unresolved pain and the lingering shadows of betrayal. 5 years had passed since the plane crash that was supposed to end my life, since I'd fled with nothing but the faint heartbeat of my unborn son echoing in my ears. Now, standing outside the hospital that had once symbolized the death of my dreams, I clutched Lucas's small hand tighter. He tugged at my fingers, his blue eyes that mirrored Ethan's so perfectly it hurt, wide with curiosity about this new world of towering pines and distant howls. "Mommy, why's it smell funny here?" Lucas asked, wrinkling his nose. At 4, he was already attuned to scents in ways that no human child should be. A subtle reminder that his father's wolf blood ran strong beneath his skin. "It is the Packlands. Sweetie, lots of wolves, lots of stories." I forced a smile, ignoring the knot in my stomach. The census had brought us here, but Ethan's unexpected appearance in the hospital hallway had turned everything upside down. Alive, the word had hung between us, like a ghost, his shock mirroring my guarded relief. He'd aged, the lines around his eyes deeper, his broad shoulders carrying the weight of an alpha who'd lost too much. But the fire in his gaze, that was unchanged. The same intensity that had drawn me to him in medical school, when he'd stood between me and the snarling bullies who saw a human as prey. Now, as we walked toward the guest house, Ethan had arranged on the outskirts of the pack territory, a modest cabin surrounded by wildflowers and wards to keep nosy wolves at bay. I couldn't shake the feeling that eyes were on us. Whispers followed in the wind carried from the main village. "The human ghost," they'd say, "back with a pup that looks too much like the alpha." Ethan had promised protection, but trust was a fragile thing, shattered once and pieced together with apologies that still felt too raw. The cabin door creaked open, and there he was, waiting on the porch with a basket of fresh bread and fruits from the pack's orchards. "Sophia, Lucas." His voice was soft, but his eyes devoured us, lingering on my son with a hunger that twisted something deep inside me. "Hi, Ethan," Lucas chirped, dashing forward without hesitation. Children had a way of forgiving the past. Adults carried it like chains. Ethan knelt, ruffling Lucas's dark hair. "Hey, little man, want to see the stream out back? I bet there are frogs." Lucas's face lit up. Frogs? Yes. As they bounded off together, laughter echoing through the trees, I hung back, arms crossed, watching them. Father and son, so naturally entwined, stirred a storm in my chest. Joy, yes, but laced with the old ache. How many nights had I lain awake in our hidden island home, wondering if Ethan would ever know this boy? Wondering if he'd care? "Sophia." Ethan's voice pulled me from my thoughts. He was back, Lucas splashing happily in the distance under the watchful eye of a pack sitter. "You okay?" I nodded, though it was a lie. "Just adjusting. This place brings back memories I'd rather forget." He stepped closer, the scent of pine and earth enveloping me, like a warm blanket I both craved and feared. "I know, me too. But we're here now, together." The word hung heavy, pregnant with possibilities and pitfalls. That night, as Lucas slept, Ethan and I sat by the fire, the crackle of flames, the only sound breaking the silence. His hand brushed mine, tentative, and for a moment, I let it linger. "The DNA results came back," he murmured. "He is mine. Ours." I pulled away slightly, the warmth turning to wariness. "I know, but knowing doesn't erase the years, Ethan. The nights you didn't come home, the way you looked at me like I was a convenience." His jaw tightened, regret etching his features. "I was a fool, scared of what you made me feel. Thorn. My wolf. He has always known you were it for me, but I let duty blind me." Thorn, his inner wolf, the one who'd nuzzled against me in stolen moments, growling possessively even as Ethan kept me hidden. And Isabella. I couldn't help it. Her name slipped out like venom. Gone banished after the truth came out about the crash. She admitted it, tried to kill you to clear her path. His eyes darkened. I should have seen through her sooner. Isabella, the elegant politician from Shadow Ridge Pack, with her poised smiles and calculated touches. She'd been the wedge between us from the start. Her fated mate return a perfectly timed storm that had swept Ethan away. Or so it seemed. Part of me wanted to believe it was all her, but the truth was messier. Ethan's choices, my insecurities, our unspoken fears. The next morning brought the first crack in our fragile peace. A knock at the cabin door revealed a young pack messenger, breathless and wide-eyed. "Luna, Miss Sophia, this came for you." He thrust the envelope into my hands, sealed with the Shadow Ridge crest. I frowned, tearing it open. Inside was a single photo, Ethan and Isabella, arms linked at a recent economic summit, her head on his shoulder, his hand on her waist. Scrawled on the back, "Face-some things never change. He is not yours to keep." Asterisk, my blood ran cold. Who had sent this? Isabella was banished, confined to her pack's borders, stripped of influence. But the photo was recent, the date stamped just last week. I crumpled it, heart pounding, as Ethan emerged from the kitchen, coffee mug in hand. "What is that?" he asked, casual. "Nothing." The lie tasted bitter. I shoved it into my pocket, not ready to let suspicion take root again. Not when things were just starting to feel possible, but doubt had a way of festering. That afternoon, as Ethan took Lucas to the pack training grounds for a pup playdate, I wandered the village market, picking up herbs for my herbalist remedies, a skill I'd honed on the island to make ends meet. The stalls bustled with wolves bartering furs and spices, their sidelong glances burning my skin. "Human," they whispered, bringing scandal back. Then, a familiar voice slithered through the crowd. "Sophia, darling, how resilient you are." I turned to face Isabella. She stood there, not in chains or exile rags, but in a sleek black coat, her auburn hair cascading like a waterfall of lies. Guards flanked her discreetly, but she moved with the grace of someone who owned the air around her. "What are you doing here?" I demanded, voice low to avoid a scene. "Busyness," she purred, stepping closer. Her perfume, jasmine and something sharper like deceit, made my stomach churn. "Ethan invited me, trade talks. Didn't he mention?" Number he hadn't. "Liar," she laughed softly, a sound like breaking glass. "Oh, Sophia, always the naive one. He forgets to mention so much, like how he still calls me late at night, reminiscing about old times. Or how that photo you just got. A little gift from me, to remind you of your place." My hands trembled. "You are banished. This is trespassing." "Am I?" "Check with your precious alpha," he pulled strings. "Diplomatic immunity," he called it. "For the pack's sake, of course." Her eyes gleamed with malice. "But between us girls, he has never stopped wanting me, the fated mate bond. It is unbreakable. You are just convenient." I backed away, the market spinning. Lies, it had to be. But the photo burned in my pocket, and her words echoed the insecurities I'd buried deep. That evening, when Ethan returned with Lucas covered in mud and grinning ear to ear, I confronted him quietly while our son bathed. "Why is Isabella here?" I asked, voice steady despite the storm inside. He paused, towel in hand. "Trade delegation," elders insisted. "It is politics, Sophia. Nothing more." "Nothing more." She sent me a photo. "You and her last week, intimate." His face paled. "What? I didn't. Sophia, that is not. Save it." I turned away, tears stinging. "You are good at secrets, Ethan, master of them." He reached for me, but I shrugged him off. "It is not what you think. Let me explain." "Explain like you explained leaving me on the pavement, or marrying her while I was dead." The words poured out, years of hurt surfacing. Lucas's laughter from the bathroom only amplified the ache. This family we were building, cracking already. Ethan's eyes filled with pain. "I swear, it is over." Thorn gags at her scent now. "You are the only one." But doubt whispered louder than promises. That night, sleep evaded me. I lay beside Lucas, listening to Ethan's restless pacing in the living room. Was Isabella right? Was I fighting for scraps? The misunderstandings escalated the next day. A rumor swept the pack like wildfire. Sophia, the human witch, cursing the Alpha's decisions. Driving Isabella away from vital alliances. Wolves at the market eyed me with open suspicion. One even muttering, "No wonder the old Luna left, drama follows her." It was Isabella's doing. I knew it in my bones, but proof elusive. Then, another gift arrived, a voice recording, anonymous, delivered via pack messenger. Ethan's voice, clear as day. "Isabella, I miss what we had, Sophia. She is trying, but it is not the same." My world tilted. I played it on loop in the cabin's quiet, heart-shattering anew. When Ethan burst in from a meeting, face thunderous, I thrust the device at him. "Care to explain this?" He listened, jaw clenching. "Fake deepfake tech, Shadow Ridge specialty. Isabella's behind it." Convenient excuse. Tears streamed down my face. "Every time, Ethan, every hurt, it is her fault." "But you let her in, invited her here." "I had no choice. The elders, always the elders. Always duty over us." I grabbed Lucas's bag. "We're leaving again." "No." He blocked the door, desperation raw. "Sophia, please." Thorn senses her lies. "Let me prove it." Lucas emerged, rubbing his eyes. "Mommy, why yelling?" Guilt crashed over me. "Nothing, baby. Pack your toys. We're going home." But Ethan knelt before Lucas, voice breaking. "Hey, champ. Remember the frogs? Want to catch more tomorrow, with Dad?" Lucas hesitated, looking between us. "But Mommy's sad." Ethan's eyes met mine, pleading, "Don't take him from me. Not when I've just found him." The paternity truth hung unspoken but heavy. Ethan had embraced it fully these past days, teaching Lucas to track scents, sharing stories of his own childhood shifts. Watching them bond had been my anchor, but now, it felt like another chain. Fine, I relented, exhausted. One more day, but if one more gift shows up, it won't. He pulled me into a hug, tentative. I stiffened, then melted slightly. The familiar strength of his arms, a double-edged sword. Isabella's web tightened that very night. During a pack dinner Ethan insisted on, to show unity. She appeared at the long hall's head table, seated beside him like a queen. Whispers rippled. See, the real Luna's back. I sat at the far end with Lucas, picking at my food as she leaned in, whispering something that made Ethan laugh. A sound I hadn't heard in years. Jealousy clawed at me, irrational but fierce. When she accidentally spilled wine on her dress and asked Ethan to escort her to the private washroom, I snapped. Go on, I said loudly, drawing eyes. Comfort your fated mate. The hall fell silent, Isabella's lips curved in triumph. Ethan stood, conflicted. Sophia. Don't. I fled with Lucas, the boy's confusion breaking me further. Outside, under the moon, I sobbed into his hair. I am sorry, baby. Mommy's messing this up. But Ethan followed, finding us by the garden. It was nothing. She tripped. Deliberate. I am sure. I told her to handle it herself. Liar. I shoved the recording at him again. This says otherwise. He played it, then growled low. Thorn surfacing, listen closely, the cadence, off, and my voice. I never say, Old Luna, call Harlan, he'll confirm the fake. Dr. Harlan arrived swiftly, tech-savvy healer that he was. Deep fake, he declared after analysis. Poorly done, but convincing. Origin traced to a burner device in Shadow Ridge. Isabella's doing. But why stop there? Ethan's investigation deepened overnight. She is not just here for trade, he confessed at dawn, as I nursed a headache by the fire. Elders leaked it. She is pushing for annulment of our secret marriage, claims it was invalid, that I am free to wed her properly, for alliances. Raj ignited. And you, what do you say? That it is bullshit, he cupped my face. You are my wife, my mate? Thorn rejects her outright. The emotional chasm narrowed, but Isabella struck again. That afternoon, during Lucas's shift training, his first real test, fur rippling under skin, a concerned pack mother approached me. Your boy's unstable. Heard from Isabella he is tainted. Human blood weakening him. Lies spread like poison. Lucas whimpered mid. Shift pain flaring from the stress. I scooped him up, glaring at the woman. Get out. Ethan arrived, scooping Lucas gently. Breathe, son, Dad's here, as Lucas calmed, shifting back with Ethan's guidance. The truth of their bond hit me anew. This man flawed. Yes, but fighting for us. We confront her, I said that evening, resolve hardening. Tonite. Ethan nodded. Agreed, but smart, record everything. We lured Isabella to the cabin under pretense of private talks. She arrived smug, wine bottle in hand. To old flames? She toasted, pouring. Ethan declined. Cut the act, the deep fakes, the rumors, the photo. It is you, she laughed. Prove it. I played the recording Harlan had traced, her voice masked, directing the sabotage. Alliances require sacrifices, darling. Sophia was expendable. Her face blanched. How? Digital forensics, your burner. Ethan's alpha command laced his words. Confess for mercy. Tears. Crocodile, I suspected, welled. I loved you, Ethan. She stole you, a human, absurd, love. I stepped forward, voice steady. You tried to murder me, us. Defiance crumbled. Fine. Yes, the crash, the lies. All to bind you to me, the pregnancy, borrowed from a surrogate. But you were mine first. Ethan's disgust was palpable. Never. Thorn chose Sophia years ago. Guards burst in at his signal, cuffing her. As they led her away, she spat. "You'll regret this. Shadow Ridge will war." "No," Ethan said coldly. "Extradition, full trial, with her gone." The pack's whispers turned to awe. "She exposed the witch," they said. Misunderstandings unraveled like frayed rope. The photo doctored timestamps the recording. Her voice modulated. Rumors planted by her spies. That night, Ethan and I sat with Lucas asleep between us. "I'm sorry," he whispered, "for doubting, for letting her in." I leaned into him. We both did, but now, clean slate. His kiss was soft, promising, "Luna, officially." Healing began. Lucas shifted fully days later, strong and sure. Under our joint watch, Pack accepted us. Human Luna and all, as unity proved stronger than blood. Months blurred into joy. My medical studies resumed. Ethan's duties shared. A second child quickened within me, symbol of rebirth. Isabella's trial ended in exile, permanent, monitored. Her true face revealed. Shadows fled. The cabin's fire had died to embers by the time Isabella's guards hauled her away, her final curses echoing into the night, like the fading howl of a defeated wolf. I stood on the porch, arms wrapped around myself against the chill, watching the taillights of their Jeep disappear down the winding Pack road. Ethan lingered beside me, his presence a solid warmth that both comforted and unnerved me. The air between us hummed with unspoken words, the weight of revelations, the fragility of our tentative truce. "Sophia," he said softly, his hand hovering near my shoulder before dropping away. "Respect," I noted. He'd learned that much, at least. "It is over. She is gone for good this time." I nodded, but the knot in my chest didn't loosen over. Isabella's schemes had peeled back layers of our past like onion skins, exposing raw hurts I'd thought scarred over. The deep fakes, the doctored photo, the whispers she'd sown in the Pack. They'd all preyed on my deepest fears, that I was still the invisible human, the secret wife unworthy of an alpha's light. And Ethan, he'd fought for me this time, his alpha command stripping away her illusions. But trust wasn't rebuilt in a single confrontation. Lucas stirred inside, his small voice calling from the bedroom. "Mommy, bad dream." I turned, slipping back into the warmth of the cabin. Ethan followed, pausing in the doorway as I knelt by the bed, smoothing my son's damp hair. "It is okay, baby, just a storm passing." He clutched his toy wolf, eyes fluttering open to reveal those piercing blue depths, Ethan's eyes. The lady was mean in my dream, like the stories you tell about the fox who tricks the rabbits. I glanced at Ethan, who leaned against the frame, his expression a mix of tenderness and something sharper longing. "Yeah, sweetie, but the rabbits were smart. They saw through the tricks." As Lucas drifted back to sleep, Ethan whispered, "He is incredible. So much like you, fierce, even in dreams." I rose, facing him in the dim light. "He has had to be. Raising him alone, it has made us both strong." The words carried an edge, a reminder of the years stolen. Ethan's jaw tightened, but he didn't argue. "I want to make it right, starting tomorrow. Let me take you both to the Pack Heart, the Central Lodge. Meet the family properly. No secrets this time." The Pack Heart, the sprawling lodge where elders gathered, where pack bonds were forged and broken. I'd heard stories of it during our hidden marriage. Grand halls with roaring fires, walls lined with ancestral tapestries. But I'd never been invited. Humans didn't cross that threshold lightly. And if they reject us, Lucas with his mixed blood, they won't. His voice held steel. "Because I'll make them see what I see. What Thorn sees. You are my mate, Sophia, my Luna, and he is my heir." Heir, the word hung heavy, stirring a whirlwind in me. Pride, fear, a flicker of hope. But after Isabella's poison, could I risk it? One step at a time, Ethan. Prove it to him first. To me. He nodded, eyes locking on mine with that unyielding intensity. "I will, every day." The next morning dawned crisp, sunlight filtering through the cabin's pine-framed windows. Lucas bounced around the kitchen table, devouring oatmeal with exaggerated enthusiasm, while Ethan flipped pancakes, a rare domestic sight that tugged at old memories. Our secret home, those fleeting mornings when he'd linger before pack duties pulled him away. "Look, Dad, I made a tower." Lucas stacked his spoon on the bowl's rim, grinning toothily. Ethan's fork paused midair, his face lighting with unguarded joy. "Dad." He tested the word, savoring it. "Yeah, buddy, that is a solid tower, higher than mine." I watched them, coffee mug warm in my hands. This was the Ethan I'd fallen for, the protector, the one who knelt to a child's level without hesitation. But shadows lingered. The man who'd signed our marriage contract with conditions, who'd whispered, "Human like a curse," that day at headquarters. After breakfast, Ethan suggested a walk to the lodge's outskirts, just to scout, get Lucas used to the scents. We ventured out, hand in hand. Mine and Lucas's sticky one, Ethan's brushing mine occasionally, testing boundaries. The path wound through ancient oaks, their branches heavy with moss. Birds called overhead, and in the distance, wolf howls mingled with laughter from training fields. "Smell that?" Ethan crouched, pointing to a cluster of ferns. "Deer track, fresh." Lucas inhaled deeply, nose twitching, sweet, like candy, but earthy. Ethan chuckled, ruffling his hair. "Spot on. Your nose is sharper than mine was at your age." Pride swelled in his voice, but his eyes flicked to me, seeking approval. I smiled faintly. He has always been curious. On the island, he'd track crabs along the shore for hours. An island explorer, huh? Ethan scooped Lucas up, perching him on his shoulders. "Tell me more. What else did my little adventurer do?" Lucas chattered away. Stories of tide pools, firefly nights, building sandcastles shaped like big wolf houses. Ethan listened raptly, asking questions that drew out details I'd hoarded like treasures. Sounds like paradise. "But did you ever think about coming back?" The question was for me, veiled in Lucas's tales. I met his gaze over my son's head. "Every day, but fear's a powerful chain, Ethan, yours and mine." He nodded, the weight of it settling. "Break it with me." At the lodge's edge, we paused. The structure loomed. Timber beams carved with pack runes, smoke curling from stone chimneys. Wolves milled about, casting curious glances our way. One elder, a grizzled woman with silver, streaked hair, approached hesitantly. Alpha, and the boy, her eyes softened on Lucas. "He carries the scent." Ethan straightened. "This is Lucas, my son, Sophia's son, our family." Murmurs rippled, but the elder, Ilera, I recalled from old stories, bowed slightly. "Welcome, pup, the heart awaits." Lucas waved shyly. "Hi, do you have frogs here?" Ilera laughed, a warm rumble. "Frogs and more, come, see the ancestral pool." As she led us closer, Ethan's hand found mine, squeezing. A small victory, but it felt monumental. That evening, back at the cabin, Ethan pulled out old photo albums, pack history, his lineage. "Show him where he comes from," he said. We sat on the rug, Lucas between us. Ethan traced faded images, stern alphas with piercing eyes, lunas with crowns of woven vines. "This is my grandfather, the one who forged our borders, tough as oak, but fair. And here, your great aunt, who healed with herbs like your mom." Lucas leaned in, fascinated. "Do I look like them?" "More than you know," Ethan's voice thickened. "The eyes, the curiosity, you are legacy, Lucas, part of this." But as pages turned, a photo slipped out. Ethan and Isabella, young and laughing at a college gala. My breath caught. Ethan snatched it up. "Sorry, old ghosts," Lucas peered. "Who is the pretty lady? She looks sad now." Ethan hesitated, then honest. "She was a friend once. But friends can make mistakes, big ones, like not being honest." I touched his arm. "It is okay, teach him that too." As Lucas dozed off mid-story, Ethan carried him to bed, then returned, sitting close. Thank you for letting me in today, one day down. I teased lightly, but my heart raced. His proximity stirred embers, memories of tangled sheets, whispered promises. He cupped my cheek. I see it now, Sophia. Him, us. I was blind, chasing shadows when light was right here. Our kiss started soft, exploratory, then deepened with years of pent-up longing. But I pulled back, breathless. Slow for real this time. He groaned playfully, torture, but worth it. The efforts continued, deliberate and tender. Mornings, Ethan arrived with breakfast picnics by the stream, where he'd teach Lucas simple tracking games. Follow the scent, pup. Trust your nose, like trusting your heart. Lucas giggled as mud splashed, but his questions grew deeper. Why'd you leave, Dad, before I was born? Ethan's face fell, glancing at me for guidance. I nodded. Time for truths. I didn't leave on purpose, Ethan said, voice steady. I made bad choices. Hurt your mom, thought I was protecting everyone, but I was scared. Alphas get scared too, you know. Lucas frowned. Scared of what? Of loving too much, losing it. Ethan hugged him. But I won't again, promise. Lucas hugged back fiercely. Pinky swear. Pinky swear. They linked fingers, sealing it. I watched, tears blurring. This was the bridge. Father to son, mending what I'd patched alone. Afternoons brought pack integrations, gentle introductions to pups Lucas's age, supervised play under the elders' eyes. Alara became a fixture, sharing lore tales by the fire. Your blood's pure child, she'd say. Human touch makes it stronger, balances the wild. Whispers faded, replaced by acceptance. But misunderstandings lingered in subtler ways. One evening, a letter arrived from the elders. Formal invitation to the heart ceremony, but with a veiled note. Ensure the boy's shift is observed. Purity confirmed. Purity, the word stung, echoing old prejudices. I showed Ethan, they're doubting him, us. He crumpled it. Number their testing. Come with me, face it together. The ceremony loomed, a full moon gathering where young wolves presented. Bonds affirmed. Lucas's shift was imminent. His skin itched. Eyes glowed faintly at night. Fear gnawed at me. What if rejection scarred him? The night arrived. Moon silvering the lodge's great hall. Torches flickered, casting shadows on rune. Carved walls. Pack members filled benches. Hundreds. Eyes on the central dais. Ethan stood tall beside me. Lucas between. Dressed in a simple tunic, embroidered with thorns. Pack symbol. Elders encircled us, Alara at forefront. Alpha Ethan presents his heir, Lucas. Son of Sophia, blood calls to blood. Ethan knelt to Lucas's level. Ready, champ? Show them your strength. Lucas nodded, nervous but resolute. As Chance rose, his body trembled, fur sprouting, bones shifting with a soft crackle. Pain flashed. But Ethan held his hand. Breathe, I've got you. In moments, a small gray wolf pup stood, tail wagging tentatively. Gasps echoed, then cheers. Pure, powerful, no taint. Alara smiled. The moon accepts, the pack welcomes, but as Lucas shifted back, panting and proud, Isabella's shadow intruded one last time. A hooded figure slipped from the crowd, a Shadow Ridge spy planted. The boy's a fraud, he shouted, holding a falsified scroll. Dedna tampered. Human witchery, chaos erupted. Wolves growled, elders conferred. My heart sank. Another lie, her final barb. Ethan roared, silencing all. Lies, we've proof, the healer's records, untainted. But the spy pressed, waving the scroll. See, forged lineage. I stepped forward, voice cutting through. Enough. Drawing on island resilience. I snatched the scroll, tearing it. We've faced worse, Ethan. He nodded, signaling Harlan. The healer projected the real DNA results on a communal crystal pack tech, glowing with irrefutable matches. Truth here, sabotage there. The spy bolted, but guards seized him. Confessions spilled, Isabella's orders, smuggled from exile. To shatter the union weakened Thorn. Elders gasped, then bowed. Deception unmasked, the family stands. War solution washed over the hall, applause thundering, wolves approaching with gifts, woven blankets, carved totems. Lucas beamed, clutching a tiny howl horn. "Did I do good, Mom?" "Perfect," I whispered, hugging him. Ethan pulled us close, family encircled. "No more shadows, you are home." In the quiet aftermath, as Pac celebrated outside, we retreated to a private alcove. Ethan traced my face. "I discovered him, you's too late, but fighting for you, best choice I ever made." Tears fell, "You earned it, both of you." Our kiss sealed it. Deep, promising eternity. Misunderstandings dissolved like mist under sun. His doubts in my love, my fears of rejection, all aired and absolved. Months later, the Pack Heart became our haven. Lucas trained as heir, blending human ingenuity with wolf might. I advised as Luna, my medical knowledge healing old rifts. Ethan, my anchor, proving daily. A second pup quickened within. "Girl," the seer whispered. Legacy grew. In Thorn's embrace, we thrived. Love, once fractured, now legend.